Day number 8. We don't even have the mic with us. 2,000, 1,999.
You gotta just speak up.
1,998, 1,997, 1,996, 1,995, 1,994.
Should I just let him keep going, you guys?
No, it's a countdown before the video.
Exactly. Should I just let you keep going?
Why not?
No.
It's a countdown.
That means we'll be here all
I
night.
think 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is overrated. It should be from 2,000 down. Huh.
Somebody knocking?
And they can't come in. Actually, they can come in. It's not even locked.
Hi, everyone.
Somebody could come with an axe. Go crazy.
Stop it. How's everybody doing? Well, as you guys can see, the crossfall is not behind us.
It's 10 o'clock at night. We're still here at the church building. So we decided to record something.
Yeah.
A little something, because when we
Little
get home,
something.
bam.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to. Oh, look at, isn't that funny?
Well,
I said I have the iPad, so it has the Bible on it.
Yeah,
But guess
'cause
what? It won't even start.
Sharon was
but
like, "Oh, let's do the thing."
I
here.
got my phone and I have
And
the
I'm
Bible.
like, I don't have a Bible here. I don't have a Bible.
It's actually in the car, I think.
I didn't bring it.
No? Well, I got my Bible right.
I don't have a Bible verse.
I'm just gonna go up and pick one.
Ooh, she's challenging me.
I'm gonna pick
Why don't
one.
you pick something up with numbers?
Now,
So
the building of the tabernacle.
we're here. It is day 8 as far as building. We're trying to finish up all construction tonight. So, because stage 2, which I wanted to start stage 2 today, but we're still in stage 1, which is construction. Stage 2 is actually like the floors, the carpet,
Look
paint.
what it went to.
Wait, the floors, the carpeting, painting, more cosmetic stuff. So we're hoping construction finishes tonight so we can begin stage 2, the cosmetic stuff, tomorrow. All the way until Sunday. Sunday's our last service in our regular building, and then we can dismantle that church and bring the chairs, the lighting system, everything. So we obviously can't do any of that till we have service on Sunday.
I'm realizing that as we go, there's so much more stuff that we still need, and it's just like, it's crazy. I didn't realize it until today when we had to take 2 or 3 trips to Home Depot, and I was just like, it was just crazy. But I can't wait till we get to the cosmetic part, because
Which hopefully is tomorrow.
because I want to be able to get people in here to hopefully, for them to help me paint and to get all the smaller stuff going.
Yeah, up to this point, it's been a handful of guys, because not everybody knows how to do construction. Not everybody knows how to do this stuff. So it's been a select few, and they're probably exhausted and tired. And a lot of times I'm just not doing nothing because I don't know how to do that stuff.
You dropped something on your head today.
I know.
He did.
So
He has a bump. He can't see it, but
I didn't even hit myself there.
honey, you have a bump. Yes, you did, because it's red right there. Anyways, but I'm going to challenge you. That's where it went. I just said, Lord, I'm going to open it up to whatever you want me to open it up to.
Read it.
And it says in Proverbs 14:12. Well, this is the message. There's a way of life that looks harmless enough, Look again, it leads straight to hell. Sure, those people appear to be having a good time, but all the laughter will end in heartbreak. So let me read it in the New King James. New King James says, "There's a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Even in laughter the heart may sorrow, and the end of mirth may be grief."
What's the first part?
There's a way that seems right to a man, but
Yeah.
its end is the way of death.
You know, there's this, I don't know if it's just a proverb or a saying, or if it's true, but like in the Middle East, the shepherd, he watches his sheep, and he has to be real careful because any little thing can distract them.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, one thing could be a lot of times when their wool is really big and they haven't shaved them yet.
It's heavy.
It's heavy, and they see a nice little stream. Nothing dangerous. Little stream, you know, and they obviously say, "Oh, nice clear water. I'm going to go in and put my feet in and drink some water." And so they go to the stream to drink water, and as soon as their wool touches the water, it begins to soak it up. And as they're drinking water, they get so heavy that they fall in, and then they get heavier and they drown because they were enticed by something that looked good to the eyes, not realizing. That's why the shepherd is always being very careful, you know, because the sheep don't know what they're getting into, even though it looks innocent enough, you know. And it reminds me of that verse. How did it start? In the Message.
In the Message, yeah, I like the way Message says it. In the Message, it says, "There's a way of life that looks harmless enough. Look again, it leads straight to hell."
Yeah. So there's things that look harmless, or when they see beautiful flowers and the sheep go to it, not realizing there's thorns, and again they get all stuck and caught up.
But there's beautiful flowers that are actually poisonous.
Yeah. So the shepherd is there to guide the sheep because they don't know any better. And Jesus is our shepherd. You know, he's our shepherd. And a lot of times we get into something, and like I've always said before, a lot of times you don't realize you're in a spiral until it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, that's why you got to be very careful, because people say, it's just one drink. It's just this. It's just that. And I see it a lot in Facebook. Like there's many times that we have seen people that we love, that we care for, and we see something they posted or a place they were at, and I'm like, and I don't want to say it, and she doesn't want to say it, and then we see the spiral.
Yeah.
You see it begin, and the person doesn't realize it. They have no idea. They don't see it. It could start off with anything.
Because it's all fun and laughter, like it says. You know, it all starts out fun, just, with
Yeah.
a few, and...
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of it all, it brings sorrow. There's things that will bring destruction, and that's where it leads to, unfortunately.
Yeah. You put yourself out there, and you're setting yourself up for destruction.
Yeah.
You know, and just because it seems there's a way of life that looks harmless enough, look again, it leads straight to hell. You know, and that's just, if I'm going to Los Angeles from Modesto, the freeway is literally a block away. I'd have to go south 99. If I go 1 mile the other direction, it's still leading me somewhere that I'm not supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns into 2 miles, and then 3 miles. And before you know it, I'm 300 miles, 400 miles, 500 miles away from my destination. And that's how it is when you're serving God and the enemy entices you, or your own flesh entices you. You think it's just a little bit off.
Yeah.
Or another idea or way to look at it is 2 parallel lines. Let me see. We're going parallel, and this one's tweaked a little bit. If I keep going,
Yeah.
a mile down the road, my hands are no longer together.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with couples. A lot of times the spouse wants something different. They might want the world a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say the husband or the wife is saying, I'm going to serve God. I'm going to serve God. And the husband or the wife is saying, well, that's cool. I'll go to church with you. I'm with you. But if it's just a little bit skewed, all it takes... Do you know that if something goes a different direction this much, how much is this a mile down, a day down, a month down,
the
a
gap
year
just
down,
gets bigger.
5 years down in your marriage?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you realize you're with a stranger and you don't even know this person anymore because you started like this and it just keeps growing. And that's what that makes me think of. There's a way of life that looks harmless enough. Look again, because it leads straight to hell. I don't know. That's what they make me think about.
Yeah.
How about you?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I really like that example that you used with a couple, you know, because a lot of the times, even the smallest disagreement, if there's no communication or anything, resentment can grow. And, you know, and when you grow that resentment and everything, it really does pull you away from your spouse or from the person that you love. And you don't realize that something that little that can be avoided by simply, you know, having conversation, by having confronting the issue, you know, and communicating. It's a really, really big deal. Mm-hmm. It's important. You know, I think that there's times when you and me can disagree on something, you know, and you know, I think that we were able to at least tell each other, hey, listen, this is how this makes me feel. And you may not always agree every single time, but the thing is that you don't feel exactly what I feel, so I got to tell you how I feel, and you vice versa. But if we don't know how we make each other feel, and we can't communicate that, then how do we know what to fight against? You know what I'm saying? How can we come together and be stronger if we're already living in defeat and we're already letting the enemy come in and defeat our marriage? So it's really important, communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. I think this is off subject of this, but we talked a little bit about marriage. It's something that made pop up. Maybe it's not even relevant to what we're talking about, but it's relevant in itself, regardless. Is if you are in a relationship and you're trying to figure out where it went wrong because things are just bad, you know, try this. A lot of times we will, instead of sharing with the person how you are feeling, you're assuming what the other person's thinking. Mm-hmm. And you're assuming they know how you're feeling. But they don't. They have no idea. They don't know. So I can sit here and share with you how you're making me feel. Or I can assume how you see me. Mm-hmm. And what if it's not even based on truth? What if that isn't how you see me, and I'm over here working myself up? Yeah. But what I can do is what is true is the way it's making me feel. Because a lot of times the other person doesn't realize. Yeah,
because they don't know. So that's why it's important for you to communicate how you feel. And I think that's important in your spiritual walk too. You know, we can't force our loved ones. We can't force the people that we love, the spouse, the husband, the fiance, the boyfriend, the children. We can't force anybody to surrender. We can't force anybody to love Christ the way we do. Anything. We can't do any of that. And I think by, you know, being able to always stay open and have, I guess you would call it like an open door policy, like they say, when you make yourself available, I think what happens is that you open yourself up to communication for those people. And it makes it easier for you to be able to minister to them so that they can see God's love for themselves without having to feel forced in finding it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think it all starts with allowing yourself to be open for that communication and just being there, being somebody that's just there, and like we always say, lead by example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, everything starts with communication.
Mm-hmm.
We can't assume. You got to ask. You got to let people know. You know, obviously this works toward friendship too.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend in prison that he was my bunkie. I wasn't in a cell. I was in camp, right? So this works for friendship too. And every morning he was a morning person.
Mm.
Like when the sun went up, he woke up. By the time I woke up, he was showered already, drinking coffee, and I'm just like all groggy, barely waking up. So I would wake up and he would have a bowl of cereal there and milk. I'm not a milk drinker. It messes me up.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it was kind of weird because I'd be like, oh, thanks, brother, you know, and I wouldn't drink it, you know? So, anyways, one day, he did this for a few months, and he did it out of his heart. I'm just not a milk drinker. I don't drink milk.
And having milk in there or doing any of that, it's a big deal for somebody to give you milk. Or...
So he would go to breakfast. Here's the thing is, by the time I woke up, breakfast is over with. I think because we had to be at work at 7:30, I'd get up at 6:55, go take a shower real quick, get ready and go. But breakfast was at 6 or something like, I don't know. It was just way too early for me.
Uh-huh.
So anyways, one day, he was really sick and he couldn't get up from bed. So I happened to wake up early and I went to breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went to breakfast and I'm like, oh, I'm going to take him some milk. Because he always takes me milk, even though I don't drink it because I don't like milk. And I would always tell him.
The milk he was bringing you was his milk, huh?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. And I would tell him, brother, I don't drink milk. I appreciate it, but every day he'll bring it. And anyways, he had a flu. And I actually woke up, I went to breakfast, and I went to bring him milk and realized that the milk was way outdated. Because one of the brothers was like, oh, what is this? And I realized the milks that I had set aside for him were no good. So I threw them away. Mm-hmm. So I walked back, and as I walked back, without him asking, he assumed, he says, you know what, you're selfish, brother. How many times have I brought you milk and I'm laying here in bed and you can't bring me no milk? Not realizing I had threw 4 of them away and I didn't want him to get stomach flu. Yeah. So I threw those milks away, and right away he called me selfish. And it's like, that triggers me because I hate being called selfish. Because there's a couple times you said that and I just lose it, you know? And it's like, because that's a big trigger for me from before prison. Huge trigger for me. Don't call me selfish in the comments. So when he did that, I lost. That was probably the only time in prison I almost lost it. I snapped, right? I mean, I didn't snap like, ah, you know what I mean?
What the heck is that? Oh my God.
I didn't snap like that, but I remember I snapped in the way, like, you know how, like, I can go from 0 to 60?
No, can you?
Yes. And I got so mad and I yelled at him and like the whole unit stopped. You know, and basically later on I'm like, dude, you're a jerk, man. I had 4 milks for you because you always bring me milk that I never asked you for. First of all, I hate milk. Never asked you for it. You continue to bring it on your own behalf, even though I told you I don't drink it. But still, I woke up, I had 4 milks. I wasn't going to give you rotten milk, bro. And before I had a chance to even walk up to tell you, you just say I'm selfish. I say all this story to say this, is he assumed. He assumed. He didn't know. Later on, you know, he's still my friend. We're on Facebook.
So sad.
So sad. So, he's still my friend. I don't know if he watches these videos, you know, but we talked about it, you know, and everything was fine because I told him, brother, I really, really honestly don't like milk. And yet that milk was rotten. I was bringing it to you. why would you assume and jump to conclusion? Why would you throw away months and months and months of fellowship and friendship for one moment to say I'm selfish? I said, you know what that makes me feel? It makes me feel like you've always held that. You've always held that, and all of a sudden
you were thinking that already.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, anyways.
Yeah.
We can't
totally
assume stuff.
that.
Can't assume stuff, you know, and it's like, it's not cool, you know, it's not cool. Am I forgetful? Heck yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
I am forgetful, you know what I mean? Does that mean sometimes I do things? Does that mean I do it because I don't care about people? I don't know. I do care. But I'm forgetful. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't have horrible intentions. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. But everybody's different. That's why you got to know the people you're around. You got to
learn who they are.
Listen, you married them, or that's your friend, no matter what. That means you don't pick friends because they're perfect, or else you wouldn't have any friends, and they didn't pick you because you're perfect, because then you wouldn't be anybody's friend. The fact is this: when you're friends with somebody or a spouse with somebody, you got to know their strengths and you got to know their weakness, and that's just the way it is. I'm very forgetful. Does that mean it gives me a license to do? No, you know, I try to do better. I try to do things. I try to figure ways out. Like I learned to write stuff down. I try to on my phone. Like I text you stuff when somebody here tells me, "Oh, I need this and this and this." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll remember," and you'll be like, "You ain't gonna remember."
I tell them, write it down.
Yeah, so
write it down.
So I write it down. You know,
help each other out. You balance each other out, and I think that's important.
Yeah, but there's things about me that Sharon just has to accept, and there's things about her that I just had to accept, or else what are we doing here?
Yeah, I guess.
You know, and each other, and friends too. You know, friends too. So that's just the way. I don't even know. Are we off subject? Are we on subject? No, we're not. We're way off subject.
That's okay though, because it led into this, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think it all goes back to communication.
Mm-hmm.
It all goes back to communication, and you know, I think it's so important because, like it says, there's a way of life that looks harmless enough. Look again, it leads straight to hell. Sure, those people appear to be having a good time, but all the laughter will end in heartbreak. And that reminds me of, we see so many people who have success, who are in Hollywood or in all of that, and they have it all, and a lot of people are watching them through social media, they're watching them through TV, they're watching them through every technology or aspect or way that they can, and they're just like, man, they're so blessed. Look at the life that they're living and everything. But see, the people who have so much, sometimes they don't feel that.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of people on your Instagram and on your Facebook that their life looks amazing, and they are purposely doing that because they're actually empty. And they'll be like at the bar or at the club and have a drink and they're smiling, but what you don't see is how lonely they really are.
Trying to fulfill a feeling that,
or how numb they are.
Yeah.
To numb the pain.
Yeah.
You don't see them crying at night because of they're lonely or they're addicted or they're alcoholics or whatever. You don't see that part. All you see is the happy part.
Yeah.
And that's why that verse, how does it end?
Yeah.
Sure, those people appear to be having a good time, but all that laughter will end in heartbreak.
Yeah.
So don't believe Instagram, don't believe Facebook.
Yeah. I think, the most important thing is getting back to the basics. I realized the other day, when I told you guys that I had was going through something with my son, that I realized that I needed to sit down with them more, that I needed to spend some more time with them and be able to just have conversations and, and all of that, because I think that we did get a little too busy with so many things right now, and then the move and everything, that I haven't really had a chance to just sit and talk with them.
Yeah.
And it was really important for me to take the time to be able to do that. And see, here's the thing, that a lot of people, once again, think that our lives are all put together so easily, but the truth of the matter is we're no different. and we have children, some children that are unsaved, and we have a lot of obstacles that they go through, and as parents we're going to go through them with them and always try to guide them the right direction, but it's only until they decide to surrender for themselves and have that true salvation that they're really going to be able to be free. And I'm just praying and hoping that that you as parents out there take that time to communicate with your children and with the people that you love. We definitely need to do that. It's so important. Yeah. But
good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. What? What?
I think that thing fell on his head really hard, you guys. Like seriously, all I hear is the ladder moving and
a whole drill. You know those drills?
It was all the way up on the ladder, and he moves the ladder and the whole thing comes down
I forgot
and
it was
falls
up
on
there.
him. And I'm just like, OMG,
Almost
this man.
died.
Yes, I'm just like, the one thing he tried to do, and he drops a big old drill on his head. What?
So, check this out. We were trying to put the cameras up because I just kind of had them mounted, just sitting there. We had to mount them up on the wall, outside and on the back, and on the lobby. And our drill couldn't do it. I tried it, conked myself in the head. Abraham tried it.
Almost got himself on the
All
head
of a sudden,
too.
we're doing
our devotional.
We're doing our video. Hold on. So,
That's my son, Abraham.
yeah. So what happened was, after that, all of a sudden, a brother pulls up that hasn't been here ever. Well, I mean, that hasn't been here since we've been here. And the 8th day, he happens to pull up, and he happened to have a compact drill in his trunk that we needed to put him up. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And he goes up there and starts doing it right at the moment we needed it.
Yeah, isn't that God is just always on time.
Yeah. But I think
he even said it. He even said, "You know what?" He's all, "God brought me here just for this."
Yeah.
Yeah, he even said it.
So he held out the cameras and then he left.
Yeah, and we have a little 10-year-old here that's working with his dad doing some woodwork, and it's so cute because he walked in and Dad's like, "All right, mijo, get your table set up," and he's like, "All right." So he pulls out, all his little sander. He pulls out his stuff and everything, and he's out there doing woodwork, and he's a young little boy, and man, he's really getting things done, and he's been working really hard for the last few hours. So, man, I'm blessed to just see that. When you see somebody, we were talking about investing time into the younger ones yesterday. If you didn't hear yesterday's devotional, we were talking about that. And that's exactly what I mean. It's like somebody invested a few hours of their time to teach my son something the day before yesterday. And here my son is today working on things, And then you have this young little boy out there, that his dad has invested time into him, and he knows the little trade now. He has his spot, his job, and everything that he does to help his dad out so that they can do things. And that's why we say it's important. Invest that time in somebody. Take the time.
All right,
guys. We love you guys. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. And hopefully we'll be back in our living room tomorrow.
All right, guys. I think Joe needs this.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.